Hey guys, you're watching Daniel and Gian review, and today we're going to do a full review of the 2006 feature film Rang de Basanti, starring Amir Khan.
Let's get into it. People have been waiting for it. This is literally probably the highest requested movie to review. We were supposed to do it a long time ago. Once the trailer got 500 likes, it got 500 likes almost immediately. So now, 5 months later, here we are.
First off, I want to say thank you to all of you who recommended us watching Legend of Bhagat Singh beforehand, because we for sure would have been lost without it.
And it would have been super negative, and that would have been on us.
Yeah.
For once, people would have been like, you just don't understand. That would have been okay. The movie does go through some of those events, but
it doesn't tell you who these people are, how important they are to the movement. And even then, I could make the argument that Bhagat Singh wasn't as important in Rang de Basanti as he was in his own movie.
No, for sure.
They kind of spread out how important these revolutionaries
which was good for me.
Yeah.
Because it made it seem like they're all together.
Right. Let's talk about the good things first. I like the third act. The final act really picked up.
Written by Amir Khan. The original version, they were supposed to get away.
It took some chances. It took a lot of chances. It was very blunt, in your face. Surprising enough, because we found out this was nominated for a wholesome or family movie award or something.
Won, I think.
Yeah, which is
not very wholesome, but I understand why. The first two thirds was wholesome. Amir Khan dies.
Yeah.
And a movie where he's the lead. That's huge. That's great. I criticized Salman Khan about not dying in his movies.
Right.
This is not going to be about Salman Khan, so don't worry. But I'm just saying, I can't see him doing a movie like this where he takes this much of a chance, where the hero doesn't succeed. The hero succeed, but in a thematic way, not in an actual way where the characters actually win. Where they can see the victory. They're spoils of their victory.
Well, they're martyrs.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they martyred themselves in the same way that the original guys did back in the 1930s or whenever that took place. This is a tough movie for me to rate because there's a lot of stuff I didn't like about it.
A lot.
I like the message more than anything.
The themes.
The themes were strong. It definitely had some strong themes. It definitely had. There's little tidbits like the foreshadowing of stuff, like the pilot when they're like, oh well, when he dies, they're gonna give him a 21 gun salute. They're gonna give the Indian flag or whatever, and then they carry him out. They carry him around.
I like the politician, the guy who was working for the politician.
Yeah.
Who was
he was a great performance. You really felt he felt genuine.
He had the arc.
Yeah.
He had an arc. He was this no nonsense. I'm all about the government. I'm all about maintaining order. Get out of here, Amir Khan and friends.
And then he sees things with his own eyes and completely changes
shifts
his tune.
To the point where he kills. There's a lot to discuss here. I feel like scene by scene, the messages and the intent stand out.
Right.
But that doesn't mean the execution of what's going on is necessarily the best.
There was a lack of connective tissue. That was the biggest issue for me.
I think we start at the beginning.
Yeah.
With the introduction of the white girl.
Yeah, we start out with. It starts out in a flashback, and then we realize. All of a sudden, there's a voiceover too about this girl finding her uncle's journal, which I found interesting. Netflix, I feel like they overdubbed his English with Hindi.
No,
and then
it was on purpose.
But I heard there was parts of it where he was.
No, it wasn't on Netflix.
There was parts of it speaking English, and then all of a sudden it went into
because that was a motif. You hear the first few words, and then But
then I heard two voices going on at the same time, one underneath and one on top. Not the whole time.
It would always drown. It would always mix.
Either way, I didn't like that. I thought was fun and odd.
That's a creative choice.
I guess, but at the same time, it's this is an English guy. He's writing in Hindi in his journals. He wasn't, and
he's not writing in Hindi. That's not the point.
We saw
it's translating for the Indian audience.
I get that.
But that's why.
I get that, but at the same time, I was
could they have written it in subtitles? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, I'll chalk that up to a creative choice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame that on Netflix. That's what I'm saying.
That's fair.
I think the director.
That's fine.
But you find her journal, or she finds the journal.
Yeah, she finds it. I don't know was she say was it her grandfather? Was her great grandfather?
Some long lost relative.
Yeah, exactly. And then
she wants to tell the story of these.
And then they tell us that she's getting ready to shoot this documentary, and then she gets canned.
She gets fired. She quits.
She quits. Yeah. They tell her that they're not going to fund the project, and then she has a meltdown and tells them to piss off, and then she leaves to India.
Hindi, she tells her.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she goes to India. You find out that she speaks Hindi fluently.
Right.
She has friends to all these people, and she goes to embark on this journey to make the movie.
Right.
And I was not necessarily 100% with it because I personally don't see from beginning to end her purpose.
Right.
You know, her arc wasn't fully developed.
Well, we talked about this in other things, especially the trailer reactions. But you know, we start off. Why is the lead of this movie, or allegedly the lead, a white person? Like,
everyone in comments will tell you they're not the lead. But look, there's a reason why we say this. Usually, the first characters you're introduced with in a movie tend to be the leads. That's just a fact. You know, that's what we start off with. That's what initiates the entire journey. And she's the one who's creating all of the instances.
And everything, pretty much everything is seen through her point of view. That's the other thing. Like all the perspectives we see is her observing. So that's an integral part of storytelling.
And then that was
she's
abandoned.
Basically your narrator, yeah. And then we get to the third act, and it gets.
I'd say it was abandoned before that. Even before that, it was abandoned. Because it became more about the boys.
The only scenes.
And she became a back.
I think of it more as like the only scenes we see without her are towards the end of the movie. She's always in.
I agree,
scene.
but in terms of her being the focus and her.
Well, I think the focus shifts when the pilot dies. That's when the focus completely shifts, and then she just kind of gets pushed to the side.
But even then, even before that, what is she doing? She's no longer progressing the story forward, other than making this doc. But she's never saying we need to go this place to do this, or here's this. It's kind of just.
Well, we never see that explicitly throughout the movie.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's my point. She goes by the wayside. Me personally, don't even need her at all. There's no reason why this couldn't have been an Indian girl or boy who finds this journal, or anything.
We were talking about this last night. Like I would have liked it better had it been a discovery and they found this inspiration from these texts, and then they find this parallel between what was going on back then and what's going on now. And we didn't really get that.
There's no reason for the white girl.
No.
None. Not at all.
No.
Not one bit. There's no defense of it. None. Just there's no reason why it couldn't have been a FUBU film. FUBU, for those who don't know, is for us, by us. That's a term coined by African Americans here in the United States. Basically, it just means movies that were made for us, by us. So it would have been interesting to see, just to have it be all Indian.
Yeah.
There was just no reason for it. I understand the creative impulse to make the connection to the guy who's. I get it. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's cool for about 10 minutes, and then it completely gets lost. Still, those flashbacks still could have existed had another person been reading this journal, because it would have been like, oh my God, look at this white guy. He actually appreciates these people.
Yeah.
Like, this is interesting. Then you can argue, well, that's not what the story's about, but.
We never really go into the filmmaking part of the
which was
movie
that was a huge leap of faith for me.
Yeah.
Because.
We never see him filming anything.
But we're to believe that all of the sepia tone stuff was her documentary.
Exactly.
Which is so ridiculously nonsense because
I think
there's no budget.
I think the only time we really see anything is when they're doing their makeup, like when they're putting on the mustaches and stuff.
And then they film that one scene in the bedroom. There's like a bedroom scene. The guy's like dreaming of something, and then he wakes up, and then the color shifts from the sepia to like the normal.
Yeah.
That's how you know that they're filming this. But I mean,
and it was a creative use of changing the color tones back and forth,
And then when they watch the first cut or whatever, that's kind of when everything gets solidified. They're like, oh my God, these guys are. But it wasn't real. There's just no way that was with one little camera. You never see sound people. You never see any crew. You never see anything. And I understand people are going to say, well, you're overanalyzing it, but that's what's presented. Now, that didn't ruin the movie.
No.
Because those were the best parts of the movie, in my opinion, with the exception of the last act. I mean, the flashbacks.
But there's also the part where we don't see them gradually connecting to the... I would have liked to see them gradually connecting to the script, to this information that they're getting, to like getting this inspiration. And we don't really see this inspiration. The inspiration happens after they watch the cut, and they're all quiet, and it turns into this like real awkward, silent moment where Amir Khan's trying to like lighten things up again, and then they talk about the pilot and whatever, like, and you see the confusion they have and the conflict they have with what they're seeing. The rich kid who's gonna go study in the U.S. is like doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He doesn't get along with his dad. They have all these different internal conflicts going on, but it's never solidly connected to the journal, to these revolutionaries before, and it's
they're kind of just existing.
Yeah, it's there, and I get it. Like
you're building camaraderie, you're building their relationships together.
But it's never, at no point in the film is there like this big like, I want to be the next Bhagat Singh moment per se.
Prior to prior to them actually going full.
Right,
like,
and just completely doing it. And even
Right.
then, they're not really mentioning, like, you know, that they were inspired by this guy or that guy. We see it when they're about to die, and then we see them looking at the cinematic versions of themselves in sepia.
which was cool.
Yeah.
I liked it. But I mean, that's another thing. The whole pilot thing. I mean, that was the way the movie ends. You pointed this out yesterday. The movie ends with the 100 whatever the statistic,
the title card about the deaths,
which is fine. That's fine.
That's not what the movie's about.
That's not what the movie's about.
Yeah.
And if the movie was about that, then the filmmaker should have drove that home more.
Yeah.
You can't have one or two scenes about it and then all of a sudden expect to have this, for me personally, and this is because the movies I'm used to that do have those title cards, the entire film is about that.
Right.
I don't think 12
I mean,
years...
they start the movie off with title cards like that normally. It's never at the end. It's like letting you know this is what this movie's about,
For me, the cinematography was just, in the flashbacks, great. It was fantastic.
Right.
I thought the production design was perfect. I thought the lighting was good. I just enjoyed that. But then there's just so many unmotivated camera movements where the camera's just constantly let's just make it into a Dutch angle for no reason.
Right.
On some moments, there was definitely, it enhanced the movie, it enhanced the scenes, but not every time. So for those who don't know what a motivated camera movement is, it's kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's when the camera moves as a result of some sort of motivation. So if I look to my left right now, and then the camera were to pan this way, that would be motivated, because as an actor, as the person in the scene, I'm looking a certain way, and that's where the camera goes. If the scene is very creepy or scary, and the camera goes to this Dutch angle, and it gives you like this sense of uneasiness, then it's motivated by the mood. If you're just throwing those in there for no reason, it's what Gian and I like to call a film school shot. You can go ahead and pick it up from there and explain what a film school shot is.
So a film school shot is when you throw a certain stylized shot in there just because it looks cool, where there's no setup for it, there's no reason for it at all. You're just like, I would just want to put this shot in here because it looks nice, and it makes me, the director, look like I know what I'm doing. Like, oh wow, he's artistic.
And you could do that as a director. You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. But what happens, in my opinion, is like people that actually know film will call you out, right? Like they know what you're doing, one, and people that don't know film get a little bit confused by it because it's no rhyme or reason. Because that's what filmmaking is all about. It's manipulating your audience. You're telling a story, and you're using these shots to get feelings, invoke feelings out of the people watching it through the imagery. And when you throw in these random shots that really have nothing to do with what's going on, it jars your audience, and that's the last thing you want to do.
Maybe. Because if they don't know any different, then whatever.
Right. I mean, sometimes it goes right past you.
And that's okay.
Yeah, it goes right over your head.
But that doesn't mean that, because see, as filmmakers, we recognize it, as you said, right away. And it becomes a distraction.
But I feel like there's layman people, there's people out there who don't know, and they get a certain feeling, and they don't bring it up again because it's like whatever. But I feel like they do get that feeling. I feel like they do get confused.
I know it was a big complaint on Thor.
Yeah.
The first Marvel, Thor film, because Kenneth, I forget his last name.
Kenneth Branagh.
There you go. He was always using it for like no reason. Like the shots would just be that way just because it looked interesting.
I'm sure if you talked to him, he'd have an explanation for it.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. And that's the thing. We'd have to ask the director. He might have an intention behind it, but it wasn't easily accessible. It wasn't apparent. Because as a director,
we just watched a lot of Cabinet of Caligari before.
That's exactly. Yep. And that would be the first film, German film, that used the Dutch angles, as they're called. As we were taught in film school, you should always question as a director, why you're doing this. Why is the camera moving that way? And if you don't necessarily have a reason, you can still do whatever you want, as I said before. It's the director's creative choice, but if you don't, it's not as effective, and that's the thing. And for me, a lot of these shots weren't as effective as they could have been.
Right.
I liked the movement, I liked that thing, but there was sometimes just no reason to do that. They mess with the shutter speed in certain moments. That was fine, I get it, especially during the chase scenes. There's no real music, a lot of montage music. So there wasn't. I think there was like one big dance sequence with the big wrestler guy. It's all fun and games. Like that was that was fine.
Just a lot of building friendship and camaraderie.
That's the biggest gripe for me besides the Dutch angles. It's just, we say this a lot, but I feel like this film more than any other. There's two versions of this movie. One that's like an hour shorter, and it got to the end quicker.
Yeah.
It could have potentially been more impactful, or another version where they start these antics of rebellion way earlier.
Yeah.
And there's more of it. Yeah, they kill the politician. They kill the Ministry of Defense. And then they did something else. And then they end up in like they could have done more with starting this like mini revolution, in my opinion, as opposed to just saving it for that last hour. I mean, arguably the whole movie could have taken place in the radio station.
Right.
The whole movie could have been in the radio station. Would it have been the same movie? No, but you could have gotten the message across.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that was the white girl angle at the first movie. How much time do we spend with her at the beginning of the movie? You know, if you get rid of that, you have more time to really focus on.
Or change her to an Indian person who's maybe friends with these people. You know, could have been the nerd or something. I don't know.
I mean, also then we're talking about the Indian girl that was involved. Like she disappears at the very end. Like
she was with the mom, who was in a coma. But I'm just saying, a lot of these characters didn't have development.
No,
they were friends, but they didn't really do anything more than that. So, you know, it's not that I think we both agree that the message was strong.
Yeah.
It was important. The ending was impactful. The actual ending where you actually see the young Indian kids saying, like, I'm not going to, basically, like, I'm tired as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. You know, literally shouting it out.
On a film school, funny enough, we use film school before. On a film school level, this isn't a movie that I would show people.
Yeah.
On that, I think you're not helping anybody by showing them that on that level, on a technical level. But I still enjoyed it. It wasn't
absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't like I didn't hate watching it. I wasn't like looking at my watch the whole time or my phone, I should say.
I was expecting greatness.
Yes, I was definitely expecting.
And with Amir Khan, it's kind of pulled like.
And this
Dongal,
I want to say
Idiots,
this is like the first Amir Khan movie where
he didn't produce it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he wasn't the lead in the film either. You know.
No, I know. He was the most important face.
Yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't his movie.
Right.
You know, and I don't know if it was marketed as his movie.
I don't know.
But it doesn't matter. Like he wasn't the star of the movie. He was just the biggest name. He was the big ticket name.
Did you like anything on a technical level?
I mean, nothing really stood out to me. It wasn't anything.
There were certain moments, like there's a scene where Amir Khan cries at the end that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Where it just held on and was like a long take of him just like being silent, and then all of a sudden he just breaks down. It was right after the whole attack, like when they basically got beat up by all the police officers and they're all covered in blood. I really enjoyed that.
Right.
I enjoyed that scene in particular, that they went there. That was a huge shift in tone, but, you know, it was fine. It fit.
I mean, I liked it. I liked the end. I liked the way the end was shot. The whole final sequence at the radio station, like the setups where the security guard's sleeping and homeboy like notices he's got a rifle and he's not paying attention. So when this goes down, he knew exactly what to do. Like those little setups like that where everything was going on at the radio station.
And they didn't give a shit. I liked that.
Yeah.
And I liked how they said, leave. We're not going to hurt you.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
get out of here. It was like a very selfless cause. I enjoyed it. I know you didn't necessarily like how they had such an easy access to the Ministry of Defense.
Yeah, that's just on a. I mean, it felt too easy. Like they killed the prime minister.
It made sense in Bhagat Singh why he'd have so much, but in 2006.
Exactly.
And that for me, it didn't bother me. Throw that out to you guys. Is that plausible? Do the Ministry of Defenses or people that high within the Indian government just walk freely? Do they have access?
It was also like there was no recon. Like the dude knew exactly so quickly. He knew exactly the guy's routine in the morning. Like he doesn't really have. He only has like 2 guards in the morning, so we can get him in the morning. There wasn't like he was like hunting around.
But that could have been a stylistic choice because they start as well with the bicycle. You know, where they're looking at the bike,
right?
Like guys fixing the bike.
And it's a throwback to the actual.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
But that being said, like had there been some sort of a little more like a fun and games, I guess, or planning. If we saw some more planning on camera, it would have made that a little more impactful for me. It just felt too easy. And I think that's the thing. Like stuff like that the stakes need to be higher, and that was one of the times where the stakes were really simplified. So, I mean, it's kind of nitpicky. You know, it didn't ruin the movie, but it's definitely something I thought about, and it's still stuck in my head, which I think is, you know, that's important when you're doing these kind of things, when you're doing reviews, when you're watching these films, when things stick out in your head, obviously there's something there.
That's why we're reviewing it. It's a review. I mean, I think people expected us to love it. And I would say I definitely loved the ending.
Yeah.
But overall, there's just moment to moment. Like when they go out to this, it's right next to the Air Force Base, and there's all those moments of bond. I mean, by that point, I already know they're all friends.
Right.
So I understand it's to see the the MiG jets again to kind of let that sink in, and then they go back to it later. So I get the intents of the scene.
Yeah.
I get it. I get the messages. I don't feel like I missed them.
Everything is clear.
Exactly.
Everything is clear.
It's just the connective tissue.
Yeah.
It's the moment
Engaged.
to moment. Exactly. The engagement. It kind of did this, where I was like, okay, now we're gonna sit here for 5 minutes. What is this scene adding to the story? It's building character, but what is it building to the story?
Right.
Because my argument is, and we always say this all the time, if you were to cut that scene, would the movie be the same?
Right.
And if the answer is yes, then that scene is not essential to the story. There's the scenes where the one Muslim friend, when he goes home and the dad yells at him and the brother yells at him, could you have cut those scenes out? Yeah, but you know what? It helped.
Yeah.
Because it added another layer to his character. It added another layer to the events at the end, the brotherhood and stuff. That's important. But there's just, I don't know, for me, there's just certain things that just didn't add up for a movie that's 2 hours and 50 minutes,
Right.
Could have been a super solid 2-hour film.
Absolutely.
But that's just my opinion. Performances, I think they were all okay.
Other than, the auditioning at the beginning, some of the people that didn't make it into the movie.
I thought that was great. I liked
it
how
was a
they
little
did
silly. The guy with the high-pitched voice. It was fun.
It was funny.
Yeah.
But there was definitely a huge, you knew this wasn't exactly real.
Right.
But to go back to the
It
movie.
went on a little long, too.
Yeah,
I feel like
but they were jokes. It's
Yeah.
supposed to lighten the mood, but there you go. That's another thing. Do you need to show 50 of these people
Right.
to get to the point across that these guys are not going to be the ones for her movie?
Exactly.
Let's put a number on it. Let's 1 to 10 as a film.
Oh man, these numbers are so trivial. They're so.
They are. But I think it's what people expect.
Yeah, I
For me, it's a 6.
Yeah, I'm
ending.
I'm with you. I'm gonna give it a solid 6. I think the ending kind of saved it. The beginning of it, we didn't really go into it, but it just kind of felt like a lot of it felt like a '90s high school or college film, which is what they were trying to do at a kind of, not really, I guess, with the camaraderie bits and whatnot, but. It wasn't not my favorite. I didn't hate it.
I wasn't getting angry as the story
absolutely
went on.
not.
It wasn't solidifying the point of, Black Klansman, a movie just came out by Spike Lee. The movie's about the Klan in the 70s. At no point were you not, almost consistently getting angry.
Yeah.
Because that was the message. It wanted you to be repulsed by these things, by these actions.
Yeah.
In this film, there was no consistency of, here's a politician doing something corrupt.
Right.
You see a little news story on the TV that gets glossed over.
You overhear a phone call, but we didn't really get any information from the phone call.
But it wasn't until that last hour where you actually started getting mad.
Yeah.
You start to see the events where the son kills the dad because of it, which was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the commitment. But for a film that was supposed to be about getting angry, I wanted to be angry more.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
The film is supposed to be out drawing parallels between the early revolutionaries versus these modern kids, and it fails on that.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
In our opinion.
But
so
I give it a 6, and it is what it is. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for us. Thanks for watching. The drill. Smash that like button. Leave comments.
Continue the conversation. Tell us why we're wrong. I'm assuming.
Tell us what you guys like. Tell us what this. So many people wanted us to watch this movie. Let us know why it meant so much to you, because that's more important than anything else. This is what this channel is about: learning about what motivates you, what gets you excited about these films, and why maybe we're not. What is it that we're missing out on? And we love it when people go into explanation about that.
Because this is just our opinion.
Yeah.
We're all entitled to our own opinions.
All subjective.
No one's right. No one's wrong. But let us know in the comments.